Hello. In this video, we shall be learning about some of the aggregate functions. Now, what are aggregate functions? Now, before talking about aggregate functions, let me talk about the previous topics as well. I hope you are pretty much clear about the various DQLs, DMLs, DDLs so far. And of course, you already know how joins work. In this video, we shall be learning about the different aggregate functions. Aggregate is a simple English word, means aggregation, means addition, summing up, combining together. Similarly, in SQL, in SQL language, we also have a concept of aggregations. Now, what are the different types of aggregation functions? We'll try to learn about these things in this video. Sometimes we examine and analyze data of varying magnitudes. Hence, we realize the need of grouping similar types of values together and look them at one bunch. For example, consider a table containing data consisting of the marks scored by students in their 12th board exams. While you would want to know how the students performed in all the subjects put together, it is equally important to see how they performed in each subject. Simple. You can gain even further insights if you group the students by state. That means for each state, how is the performance of different students? For each category, how is the performance of different students? Let's say you want to analyze the performance of males and females, like kids who are males and kids who are females, different scores and different performance. In that case, you have to do some group by functions, which is called as an aggregate function. Hence, it is mentioned here. Hence, it is imperative that you learn the usage of aggregate functions in your queries. So there are multiple aggregate functions. We'll be talking about these four main functions. Of course, if you already know Excel, you might already be knowing about these things, but how to implement it in SQL, let's try to learn that. So our first thing is group by. That means grouping by a particular column. Let's say you want to find the total count of male and female. Of course, we have to group by and find the total count based on gender. That means select gender, count star from table name, group by gender. So group by to aggregate values of a column C1 grouped by a certain column C2. We'll talk about the practicals part in a couple of minutes. Moving on to the next one, which is count function. Count is simply counting the number of rows. Now, when you are doing some count operation on a table, select count star from table name. What does that mean? That means it scans the entire table and does a count plus plus, and then it keeps on counting the records. Again, that is considered as an aggregate function. Of course, you can do the total count based on count star or based on count of your primary key. Let's say customer ID is unique. So you can do select count of customer ID from table name. We also have some functions like minimum and maximum, finding the minimum and maximum values for a particular column. For example, select min score from employee. And then we have average. So let's go to MySQL workbench and we'll try to implement all this. So we will be using intro SQL database. I'm creating a new query tab. Use, okay, let me just zoom in. So what are the tables? These are all my tables: air passengers, department, employee, employee exercise, employee info, and so on. So let's try to use the telco churn, which was created in the data import export. Select star from telco churn A. Okay, simple. Now this is my telco churn. if I want to find the total records of female and male. So how can we do that? As I told you, we have to implement a group by. Okay. So what I will do is I'm doing a group by on gender. So I need gender. So I need gender and the count of gender. Simple. So I'm having gender and then count. Will this work? Well, this will not work because we haven't performed the group by. So here we are going to perform the group by operation, group by gender. And then if I run this code, I will be able to get the total count of females and the total count of males. Okay. Similarly, if you want other things, let's say you want to group by based on contract type. Okay. Simply I'll do select contract and then count star from table name group by contract. Simple. So this is my details. Now our next step is, of course, we'll learn about order by, having clause, and limit functions in the next video. So I'll not be talking about order by right now. Let's say, okay, we'll talk about order by in the next video. Now our next question is, what if I want to know the gender distribution based on contract? That means, okay, month to month, I see that 3,875 are month to month. Can I find out of that how many are males and how many are females? Well, it's possible because in the group by you just have to add one more column. So let me just do that. So I want contract and gender and then group by contract gender. So if I do this, now you can see it's little bit random in nature because it's not sorted. So of course I will be explaining you about the order by part, but you can skip the order by parts at the moment. Order by contract. Let's see. If I do this, that means my contract, you can see for female I have 1925 and for male I have 1950. And similarly goes on for other contract types, and this is how things work. Okay, so this is all about group by functions, and of course you can add more and more features. If you want to group by further down with respect to senior citizen, you can do that as well. But yeah, it all depends upon your analysis. But it's mandatory if you're in your group by, if you need other columns as well. So those things are not possible in a single query, because if I simply add another column here, and if I don't add it in the group by function, then it will throw me an error. Well, at least in Oracle SQL, it throws an error. In MySQL, definitely it's not recommended to use that way. Now, our next one is count. So as I have already shown you, count star, okay, count star. So count function is basically counting the number of records in a row. Count star from table name will give you the total count of the records. You can do this way. You can also do, as I told you, count of your primary key. So let me just see which one is your primary key. Let's say customer ID, which is your unique element. Count of customer ID. Same. This is going to return you same thing. And you can also add a where clause. Like if you are counting certain number of records only for people who are male. Let's say you want to find the total count of male customers, where gender equals to male. Okay. So this means my values in gender column is not M. So it's male and female. Okay. So I'll just change it to male. And then if I run this, I can see 3,555 records who are male. Simply, if you want to do it for minimum and maximum, it's going to be, the logic is going to be same. Select let's say I want to see on which column can we get a min max and all those things. So we have, there should be some, okay, we have monthly charges and total charges. So we'll do it on total charges. Total charges. So if I just run this, that means I'll get the entire records, right? Now, if I want to find the total sum, then I just need to add a keyword, which is sum. Simple. This will give me the total sum of the total charges. Again, as you can see, the numbers are like the decimal places are so much, right? You can just format it. Format it using a round operation, round of 2. That means I'm rounding off to 2 elements. So second element is 70. So it's ultimately 7. Similarly, I can also do minimum and maximum. Let's say I want to find the minimum of total charges. Simple. I have to use the min keyword. Min is 0. Similarly, if I want to do max, so the maximum total charges is 8,600 something. And in a very similar fashion, if you want to do the average, so these are the basic functions, basic methods to deal with in terms of SQL. Of course, we'll be learning about order by, having, and limit functions as well. And then we have some advanced topics related to stored procedures in the upcoming classes. So this is it for this particular class, and we'll see you in the next class. Thank you.